So I am Rachel Easley. I am the Director of Preschool Ministry here at First Baptist. I have been doing that awesome, amazing job for the last 2.5 years. I really do have the best job, I think, in the world. We joined First Baptist when I was actually pregnant with our oldest daughter, Kendall, who is now 19. So that was 20 years ago. We were invited here by some really good friends. I had very recently found my faith. I had been baptized as an adult, gotten to know Christ and sort of the whole story about what salvation meant and what he meant to me. But I was just dipping my toe into that pool. I had just sort of started to understand what faith was and just really began that journey. We had just decided at that point that I was gonna go from working full time. I worked in a big law firm in downtown Kansas City. I was gonna stay home. We had made that decision, so that was huge for us. I guess I think about that now. I was just kind of lonely in general at that point because, yeah, I didn't have my work colleagues anymore. I didn't know that many people here. We were very new to the town still at that point. So when I first got here, to be honest, this place was not very comfortable for me. My husband, Dave, was wonderful, like he still is, but he was very patient with me. You know, he just asked me to come and I came and I knew it was what I wanted to do. I knew it was what I was supposed to do as a believer. But when I was here, I was really uncomfortable a lot. I would kind of honestly watch the clock and just sort of really hope that I was gonna be done. I would listen to the sermons and think, wow, I really wish that was me. I really wish that that was who I was. But it wasn't, and I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know how to be that kind of person. I didn't feel worthy of being that kind of person, and I really didn't know enough yet to know that none of us are worthy, and that, you know, there was nothing I could do to earn my salvation. I mean, I knew that logically, but my heart sure didn't feel that way. And so I spent a lot of time here really feeling out of place and feeling like I didn't belong. And so for me, you know, I wanted it so much and I believed it and I knew it, but the change for me happened here in this place with the people here. One of those Sundays I was talking about where I felt uncomfortable and just like I didn't belong and just so unworthy of being here, I looked around. And I think now it was kind of God just really opening my eyes and just forcing me to kind of drop one of those very last hesitancies that I had and one of those last excuses I was holding on to. And so I finally thought, okay, I'm gonna look around this place. I'm gonna look around the worship center at all these people singing, worshiping together, and I'm gonna try to find somebody who looks like they really wanna be here. Because at the time, I didn't. And the person that I saw, and it was just the back of her head at the time, was Suzanne Wiley. And we were singing, and we were worshiping together, and man, she had a hand raised, and you could just tell from her demeanor and just her posture and everything about her that she was so glad to be here. And so then I really started watching her. So I watched her interact, and she was going around and hugging people, and everybody that came into contact with her, she just radiated. She radiated love and kindness. And I thought to myself right in that moment, I was like, that's what I want. That's what I'm missing. How do I get that? Like, how do I get that? Because it's so obvious to me that she is different. So that very day I went home and I opened up my photo directory that I had, which I'm sure it was like 5 years old at that time or whatever, and I found her. I found her in the directory and I called her. I called her up and I said, hi, this is my name, and we are a young family. We've been coming to church here for about a year. And I would love to meet you. Like, you just seem amazing and I want to know more about who you are. And that was it. She showed up at our house. I mean, I think almost the next day, if not the next day, a couple days later. We met, she came and sat with me, we talked, and the very next Sunday we went to Suzanne and Jack's small group. And that was kind of the first moment for me. It was just sort of, I laid down that last excuse and thought, okay, I know this is what I want, so how do I get here? And so my story here I couldn't even begin to list the people, but it's really, God has just used so many people in our lives to just show us all the ways that we are called to live out our faith. Probably one of the very biggest pieces of my journey here and how God has just used people at FBCLS in my life is there were people who invited me to serve with them. It is so true. And I know this to be true now, especially since I work in ministry, but man, this is really a huge part of my story is I didn't know what I was good at. I had never done a spiritual gifts test. I didn't even know what that meant at this point, you know? And I was scared. I was scared to volunteer to do anything. You know, what if somebody asked me a question and I don't know the answer? You know, I still felt like such a new Christian and a new believer at the time. I felt way underqualified for anything. But one of the very best things that ever happened to me here was my friend Natalie Kerp at the time invited me to help with VBS crafts. Okay, that sounds great. Really shortly after that, Angie Keating invited me to help with a music camp here. And then Angie Keating is the person who said to me somewhere along the way before I started helping her with preschool choir, she said, you know, you should really help with the preschoolers. And I was like, what? What do you mean preschoolers? I've never done that before. She's like, I think you'd be really good at it. So Angie directed the preschool choir and I helped her with it. You know, that was one of the first experiences I had. You know, there are just so many people here that have just every step of the way have been fundamental. And the way they did that was they asked me to help them with something. Just the people here who believed in me and saw something in me that I did not see. So they kept asking me, well, hey, would you help with this? And I'd be like, dude, I can't do that. No, you've got the wrong person. You need to ask someone else. And then just patiently kind of waiting me out, like knowing that I was just saying no because I was afraid maybe of making a mistake or not doing the right things, or, you know, God over and over and over again have put people in my path that have helped me stop being selfish with my time, or stop second guessing myself and keeping myself from an opportunity to, you know, live out His plan for me. I've just had lots of people who have really been willing to help me be brave enough to live out my faith and be generous with my time and the things that God has equipped me to do.